Nearly 2 years ago, I made a bold decision and decided to go ahead and purchase these aftermarket Amazon seats for my 2014 Mustang. We're going to be going ahead and diving deep into why I absolutely love these Amazon seats and why I absolutely resent them all at the same time. One of the main reasons why I absolutely love these Amazon aftermarket racing seats is the fact that they look absolutely beautiful. And I think it's a no-brainer to any of us who want to go ahead and purchase these cheap Amazon seats because you can't argue the price, and you also can't argue the way that they look. When you look at the white stitching on these seats, I absolutely love them because they match the outside of my car. And not only that, the black leather matches the interior of the car, which gives great contrast from the outside and the inside of the car, but also gives it a very smooth flow, so it doesn't seem like it stands out like crazy. But the main reason why I love these seats is not because of the color and not because of the stitching or the way that they look, but it's because of the way they feel around turns. And let me tell you, as someone who is 5'8" and weighs 145 pounds, these seats fit me perfectly. The OEM seats were just big, chunky, bold, and just bleh. These ones are very light and they feel very nice, especially around turns. When you're in the OEM seats, it feels like you're sloshing around like a piece of jello, but when you're in these seats, you feel very secure, nice, tight into place. I will say though that these seats are comfortable. When I do sit in these, I am never complaining about my back, ever. And I've been on some pretty long road trips with these seats, and there's never once been a time where I'm like, shit. Like never has that happened. And on top of that, I have had multiple people come in the car and even say,
wow, these seats actually are comfortable.
Even my grandmother, who has back problems, I'm telling you,
my back,
have sat in this exact seat and have said, these feel much better than my own OEM seats on my Mercedes.
You calling me a liar? I ain't calling you a truther.
And this may be a very important feature for a lot of you guys, but let me just tell you, these things lay pretty far back. I am able to lay completely down on these seats, and now unfortunately there are more negative things about these seats and there are positive things that I like about them. One of the first things I don't like about it is that this leather is very cheap. As you can see, this leather is just flapping up right here, and I actually stuck some super glue on there and some Sharpie to kind of give it a little bit more of a better look. It didn't though. Because what will end up happening is it'll look just like this as time goes on. This is just 2 years of me daily driving, and you can see that it's getting worn out, which isn't really that bad. It's pretty bad, bruh. But for seats that are 2 years old, I was expecting a little bit better, but considering these are almost $300 to $400 seats, I'm also not really that surprised all at the same time. The next thing off my bucket list that I want to bring up to you guys are these plastic pieces along the sides. I don't know if you guys noticed on the driver's side of the car, but this piece was missing, and that was totally on me. Nobody cared that much, bruh. Bro, shut the fuck up. Sorry. But as you can see, when I first got these seats, there's a little crack that runs all across the top and it makes its way straight down. This plastic is very cheap, and as you can see, with just one finger, it just pops right off. It's kind of out of the way, so it really doesn't bother me. And it's also on the passenger side of the car, so I really don't have to worry about looking at this every single day. But as you can see, the plastic trim kind of gets in the way of it, so your fingers don't really get the full grip on it. You kind of have to pull it from the top, not along the whole thing. Another thing I really did not like about these seats is the way that they move forward and back. Because there's a lever that sits in the front, and as you pull it, it kind of moves okay. It doesn't move that great. And it is one of those things that you are downgrading when you go from the OEM seat, because the OEM seat on the driver's side is electric and you can move it front and back. But the way that I ended up fixing this issue, even though it didn't really look like an issue right there, is that I ended up adding a bunch of lithium grease on the inside of the track just so that the rail can move forward and back much easier.
Meanwhile,
I should probably tell you guys this, even though I wasn't planning on it. I'm gonna give you guys some bonus coverage anyway. You do need a seat bracket for these seats. They give you the rails, they give you the seat, you don't get a seat bracket. And if you're like,
no, you idiot, I'll just use my OEM seat brackets so I don't have to spend the money to go ahead and get a seat bracket. Simple as that.
Can't do that. If you want to see that video on how I installed these with my buddy Joe, then go ahead and click the link right now And up in that link, you'll see how we installed it and more information about these seats. I will say though that there's a bug in the car. Let's try that again. Will say though that grabbing the seatbelt on this car really isn't that much of a challenge. When I say not that much, there's a little bit of work that goes into it, but it really isn't that bad. Like, I have it tucked under the seat, I pull, arm under, grab your buckle, click. Simple as that, done. But the people who do go in my car for the first time, or people that have experience sitting in my car, they're over here just like,
Found the seatbelt.
no clue why. It's literally sitting in one spot, and I don't think it changes from car to car. But I guess this one, it's impossible to find for them. Now that I saved the best for last, because I'm pretty sure this is the reason why a majority of you guys will not want to buy these seats. I was not expecting this to happen, but again, for the price, I'm also not surprised. And let me just get out of the car really quick, and I'm gonna show you what the passenger side looks like. If you were to go to the passenger side of the car and you shake the seat, it's actually pretty tight. Has a little bit of play, but nothing too serious. There is a lot of play over in this driver's seat. And it's not because it's just the driver's seat and that's the passenger seat. It's just because I use this more often than I use the passenger seat. So this seat's gonna have a lot more wear and tear on it than that one would. So it could happen to either or. And as I mentioned earlier, the cover is off the seat because I've been kind of just lazy to put it back on, to be honest with you, but also fighting this all at the same time. The reason why I had this off is because I always end up putting WD-40, grease, everything in there because the seat kept squeaking and it was driving me crazy. It wasn't necessarily this rocking chair that I'm riding around in. It was just because it was making so much noise and I had no clue why. But also at the same time too, I dug in here to see if maybe there was a bolt loose or there was something wrong, but it ended up being much worse. This is the time when I turn off the music to make it more intense. When I went ahead and tightened all these screws and the seat was still rocking around, I ended up feeling around and I felt this creaking. And the only thing that I could possibly think of was that this seat is officially
Broken.
And when I was feeling around and shaking this back and forth, I ended up finding out that the rail snapped. There's only two options I can go from here. Was one, go ahead and buy seats, which are probably gonna cost me around $700 to $800 or more, depending on where I go ahead and buy them. The other option was to go ahead and stick a rebar through the frame. And that's exactly what I did, just for the meantime, so the seat doesn't feel so dangerous. It's bad, it really is. So the rebar I shoved in there just to keep the seat firm and tight so it's not just flopping around the frame rail. And another thing that I noticed while I was under there is that you'll notice that there are silver bars that are under the seat that pretty much holds all the foam together and all that miscellaneous shit. Some of that was snapped. The welds weren't really that great. But again, what are you gonna expect out of $300 seats? So by putting that rebar in, I noticed that it squeaked even more and it drove me crazy. To the point where I even sprayed more shit, did nothing. And the only way I was able to make that work was by spraying inside the frame and going ahead and making sure it was all lubricated, and it's been silent ever since then. Overall, but I will say that I've had a lot of positive experiences out of these seats, and there's been a handful of negative experiences with them that I haven't been too pleased about. Thank you guys all so much for watching today's video, and my nose is itchy right now, and I'll see you guys in the next one.